Good morning and welcome to our PowerPoint presentation, content-based presentation for August examination. My name is George Kandetu, and there you have my number on the screen. Today we are going to look at the Educational Management 2, and the subject or the group that falls under this particular category is ACS EM12 and DPP EM32. And as I said, this is for August examination preparation. I hope that you have already started with your preparation because there is no much time left before we start with our examination. Based on your study guide, study unit 1 deals with management theories and leadership issues. And this unit covers various management leadership theories and approaches. So you need to know those management and leadership theories that are covered under that unit. It also looks at the differences between leadership and management. What is the difference between leadership and management? And also the various reasons why managers fail, as well as the methods how to lead change, that's change management, and how to put them in practice. Now, before we go any further, let us first of all look at how you should prepare yourself for this upcoming examination. First of all, you need to have your study guide. That is now the book, the Bible, that you really need to have. Now, if you look at the structure of the study guide, you will see that it is divided into units. And every unit is led by the learning outcomes. In other words, the learning outcomes is the compass of what about this topic do you need to study? How deep should you go about this particular topic? That's why it is very beneficial that you have a study guide. I know that some students only rely on Googling some information, but the danger with that is the information from Google is much general and broad. They are not tailor-made. They are not the learning outcomes are not specified. But if you have your study guide, you will know exactly what to study. On completion of the unit, you should be able to master all the learning outcomes. And please bear in mind that we as tutors, we are not allowed to give you scope of work or to demarcate work for you. You need to study the whole study guide as being guided by the learning outcomes, or what we would call learning objectives. You need to study all the units, and in the end also I will highlight certain topics that you find hard to answer, as well as common mistakes that students tend to make. Your module deals with total quality management, the principles of total quality management, the 8 elements of TQM or total quality management. You need to know them. They are very well outlined in your study guide. There is a little house that they have there with the various materials that you can use for a house, but they symbolize something. For example, cement will symbolize communication that you will need in total quality management. Then you have the roof, the bricks, all those components that one needs in terms of management. So it's an illustrative kind of situation, but it has meanings. Scientific management theories, the benefits of the scientific management theories, but also the criticisms that are leveled against the scientific management theories. It's one of the theories that are covered in your study guide. criticism as leveled by workers as well as employers. Management versus leadership functions. You are required to make a comparison between management and leadership functions. The 14 principles of management, as outlined by Henry Fayol with their general guidelines, is also under the topic total quality management. Concepts and features of leadership, and I must apologize for the spelling, leadership and leaders. These are basic concepts of saying what is leadership, the definition of leadership. What is a leader? What do we mean when we say you are a leader? It tackles issues that are related, for example, the skills that leadership skills that one must have, and also the leadership styles, for example, autocratic leadership style, participative or democratic leadership style, and also the approach by Peter Drucker, as it is called, the 3 abilities of the good old-fashioned hard work. Those are topics that are covered under concept and features of leadership. Characteristics of effective school leaders. How do we know that this one is an effective school leader? Those characteristics. The qualities of a good manager. It is expected from you to describe the skills that a good manager must have. And then we have the Blake-Mouton managerial grid. This is a typical example of a question where application of knowledge can be tested. In other words, you need to understand the grid, interpret it, and apply knowledge accordingly. Now, when we look at the grid itself, you will see that on the y-axis you have the concern for people, the management concern for people. And then on the x-axis, you have the management concern for production. And then values that are also given there from 1 up to 9 in each axis. So what it means is, if you look at the bottom left corner, which is marked as 1.1, which they call the impoverished management. When you look at it, this level of management does not have much concern for production, neither does it have much concern for people, as opposed to its opposite coordinate, which is 9.9, team management, which is more concerned, or a high level of concern, both for people as well as for production. Similarly, when you look at 9.1, which we call authority obedience, it has a high level of concern for production. And when you look at its opposite coordinate again, 1.9, the country club management has also a high level for concern, both for people as well as for production. And the middle one, which is now the organization management, is leveled. Neither does it have more concern for production nor for people. It's all at the same level. That is now marked as 5.5. So you will need to familiarize yourself with this grid. You need to understand what it represents, and then you need to be able to answer questions mostly based on application, knowledge application. And then you'll study Unit 2, which deals with the management skills, the skills that are required for you to be a successful manager. It deals with assertive communication style, it deals with features of critical thinking or the strategies of critical thinking that you must familiarize yourself with, characteristics of critical thinking, and also steps of problem solving as applied to a school situation. And here are the possible style. I have to apologize for my figure that is not very clear, but in your study guide is very clear. If I'm trying to figure out step 1, what is the problem in that cycle? In the problem solving cycle, you ask yourself, what is the problem? Why is it I can't see that one. Step 2, please check in your study guide what step 2 represent. And then step 3, what are we going to do about it? That is now step 3. What are we going to do about the problem that you have identified? And then whatever we are going to do about the problem, is it working? All right? So when you tackle the problem, you look through those steps that are indicated there. Dispute resolution, which is also related to the previous one. Principle of dispute resolution. What are the ABC whenever you have to tackle dispute? It is well covered in your study guide. And then study unit 3 deals with the school management issues. This unit look at the skills required to plan successfully. It also look at ways in which the physical environment of the school impacts on the quality of learning. Please familiarize yourself with those topics. This is followed by an explanation of an effective recognition and reward system. There is a discussion of the merits and demerits of the school cluster system and how school could develop values in learners. So there is a reward system and recognition, and also it deals also with the school cluster system. In particular, it focuses on what is required to improve teaching and learning in order to produce enhanced learner outcomes. And if we have to go to study unit 3 further, it also deals with how to compile a year planner for a school. The example of a year planner is also given there, and how to manage physical facilities in the school. It is very important that we make it part of management system to maintain school properties or to have a facility maintenance plan. Now let us look at this diagram starting from the center, school facilities maintenance planning. So this figure is looking at why it is important for us to look at maintenance and what are the aspects that we must put in place for maintenance to take place in every school. First of all, let us look at the top. Occupant means the people that are in that school, the staff, the learners, and everybody. So the occupant's health and safety is a priority. So we do maintenance because we are concerned about the occupant's health. Let us take, for example, the toilet facilities. If we do not maintain the toilet facilities, it's going to deteriorate. It's going to give bad smell. It's going to have some bacteria, and this is going to affect the people's health. So the reason why we maintain our facilities is because we are concerned about the health. In a school situation, very much concerned about the health of the children. We want to create hygienic situation. The same also with the safety. If we do not repair what has been broken, for example, the windows that are broken, that can be a safety hazard. A child can injure herself or himself because of this broken window. So we are concerned about the occupants' health and safety. Now, there must be some implementation plan, the way how we implement our plan. And not only implementation, but also to evaluate whether whatever we have implemented, is it working? We need to have money, capital planning. So we need to plan how are we going to get the resources, financial resources. We need to involve companies, for example, that are going to provide resources for maintenance. And we also need to train our people that are going to do the maintenance. We need to train our people by managing them so that they can look after our resources. Another reason why we also maintain or do have maintenance plan for our school is because it's our learning environment, and we want to create a conducive learning environment for ourselves. So we need to have or to take into consideration the stakeholders' needs. Everyone in that environment, their needs must be taken into consideration, and the vision of the school also must guide us. If we say we are a school of excellence, it means that every furniture must be of excellent quality. Our environment must be of excellent quality. So that figure really explains to us why it is very important that we have a school maintenance plan. And I'm sure this is just only a figure. You are going to read more in order to familiarize yourself even more. And study unit 4, it deals with the advantages and failures of the Namibian cluster system. We know now that after independence, we have grouped our schools in what we call clusters. More or less every cluster consists of 6 up to 7 cluster schools. Now, if you evaluate looking from the different regions, you will see that some schools are experiencing problems which we call drawbacks with regard to the Namibian cluster system, the distances between the schools, the resources that schools are having, and so on. So it is you need to evaluate those schools objectively from region to region and see what are the challenges that they are facing. And also you need to know the purpose of the cluster system. And this is the explanation of the cluster system. The levels of management in the Ministry of Basic Education, Sports and Culture before the introduction of the cluster system, there is a figure in your I'm sorry about that. Yeah, there is a figure. Unfortunately, I did not bring that figure. I thought that I have included it. That's what I was checking. There is a figure that shows you, on the left-hand side, it shows that the schools, or how the schools were managed before the introduction of the cluster system. And the figure on the right-hand side shows you after the introduction of the cluster system. And what the figure is explaining really is that before the introduction of the cluster system, the circuits or the head office were having more duties to perform, or they were overloaded. But when you look after the cluster system, many of the functions that were at the circuit level were now absorbed at the cluster level. So the cluster level had also some duties to perform, and the functions were reduced. That is what the figure is showing. It's unfortunate that I did not show it in this particular slide, but I'm sure if you go to the site in your study guide, you will be able to refer to the figure I'm referring to. And then it deals also with the current disciplinary rules followed in schools and their relation to those specified in the Education Act 16 of 2001 under the rules of conduct for learners. So go and familiarize yourself also with the disciplinary rules that the schools are following, and also compare them to what the Education Act 16 of 2001 is saying under rules of conduct for learners. Effective management of teaching learning materials is also a topic that is covered there. Now, management issues. This unit looks at the reason for selecting well-qualified teaching staff and how this impacts on the quality of learning. So this is the unit that deals with staff selection, interviews, staff induction. These modules also focus on the importance of staff induction and the great benefits of a mentor system, especially to new or novice teachers. So how do you deal with teachers that have just joined the profession? Do you just leave them to their own demise? Or is there any guidance that is provided to them, which we call the mentor system, attaching them to a senior teacher who's going to guide this novice teacher through the ropes for the teacher to become a competent teacher? We look at the key motivators for teachers and how teachers must be properly recognized for their achievement. Feedback must be provided to them continuously, and they must be given a sense of appreciation by involving them in departmental decision making. So this is now the recognitions that we have talked about. We must recognize the teachers for them to see that they are being valued and also to be motivated to produce more. Management issues. Managing stress and professional development are also components of this unit, as is the professional code of conduct for Namibian teachers. This deals with professional development, continuous professional development, which is so very important for any school. Personnel management issues, it's another unit. This unit aims at making students aware that achievement monitoring and instructional leadership bring about the result of improved student achievement, and also that improvement of teaching is now recognized to be a key to the sustained improvement of learner achievement. Teacher appraisal, that is now part of recognition. That's a central element of performance management. It is intended to improve the quality of teaching and therefore learning. A professional development portfolio is intended to engage educators in a process of ongoing professional development that enhances teaching and learning process. So nowadays it's not about the fact that you have gone to college, you have studied, and you are a teacher and finished. You need to go with a stream. You need to go with a trend, because you need to enhance your knowledge from time to time. And that is what we mean with continuous professional development. So some questions will come out of that. Maybe how different schools deal with continuous professional development. That brings us to the mistakes or common mistakes made by students. My foreword always is prepare yourself before time. Some students neglect to study all the study units thoroughly. They spot, they select certain parts, leaving others, and that will bring you to a poor performance. And these are the students, when you page through the answer book, you will see that some pages are left empty. The tutor is not going to complete those answers for you. You will just make the tutor's duty much more easier, because we just draw a straight line into those empty blank spaces. So you need to study thoroughly for you to answer the answers. Some students neglect to study thoroughly. So you are guided by the learning outcomes stated in each unit. Pay attention to the meaning of verbs: discuss, explain, describe. Those are the verbs that indicate to you how far or the length of your answer required. This will not only give you an idea of the type of question to expect, but also guide you how far you have to study a given topic. The inability to interpret the questions. Some students lack the ability to interpret questions correctly and give appropriate answers. Please note that some of the questions are there to reproduce facts. Others are there to apply your knowledge. And you need to apply your knowledge, and these are the type of questions that many students really do not answer when it comes to knowledge application. That will bring us to the end of our presentation. I just want to say thank you very much. If you need some more information, please don't hesitate to email me, gkandetu@gmail.com, or even call me at the number that is given in the previous slide. Thank you very much.